Oh, looks like we may be up. I lost track of time just looking at stuff here. Give me just a second to get it pulled up. And then we can go ahead and get started. Yep, there we are. Like and share this, make sure my people can see it, not just on the station page. Here's your weekend update, I guess we could call it, even though the weekend update is actually later, the thing I do with Carrie. But we can at least talk about what's happening here. So welcome everybody. Oh, I forgot to turn the lights on too. Hold on. I was wondering why it was so dark. That's how it goes. You gotta have studio lights in here so everyone can see my face beautifully. There we go. Now I think we are ready. So nothing going on right now too concerning. We do have an active flash flood warning in the area for parts of Marion, Lamar, and Forest County, as there was some pretty strong rain in the area earlier this morning. They're still holding on to those, though largely the rain has stopped in most of those places, or at least the concerning rain, but still watch out for those areas of flooding, especially in poor drainage. For many people may already be finished with their morning commute, but not everyone starts work, at 7, 8, 9, so there may still be some issues with that. So we'll go ahead and get started now that we got a couple dozen people in here, and we're off to a soaking start there because of that shower and thunderstorm cluster that moved through. Really more thunder showers, though I didn't actually hear any thunder personally. The radar was picking up on at least some light lightning potential. But other than that, much less active than the last couple of days worth of thunderstorms that moved through the area, which of course were not fun and quite windy and damaging, which we'll see in just a moment. We have a few more potentially afternoon showers. I would say that afternoon activity will be very subtle and pretty scattered about, but as a front slowly pushes through the area, we will see that little last gasp of potential instability as it's pushing through, especially in the heat of the day, to try to generate at least a little bit more activity before finally moving on. And that'll lead us to a beautiful and summer-like end to the week, but not quite as badly as we've seen recently. Our temperatures, our daily highs from Friday to Sunday will try to tie the warmest that we've been so far this year, which I believe was 96. Not last Monday, but the Monday before that. Which will get very close. I don't have a forecast day hitting 96, but I do have them hitting 95, and with all that sun, it wouldn't take much more to just put it 1 to 2 more above that line. So it could be our hottest day so far of the year, but thankfully so much less humid than it was that Monday. That was when our dew points were pretty close to 80, and they'll be much lower than that, much closer to 60, mid-60s, I believe. So there is some drier air coming with this front that brought all this rain and technically the storms of the last few days. The front wasn't close enough to directly cause them, but it was sending out waves that then got enhanced by the heat of the day, and that's what kept bringing those windy conditions that we saw, and very stormy, scary-looking conditions, too, from the video Jensen Weekly, local storm chaser, sent us, which we had on our morning show a couple times. I believe it's on our Facebook as well. But let's look outside right now. South Central Regional Medical Center in Laurel, looking a bit cloudy there. You see about a half an inch of rain having fallen within the last 24 hours. The roof is looking less damp than it did yesterday, though there are a few puddles there in the parking lot. Circle C Tractor also looking rather cloudy and wet right now, having received just about 1/3 of an inch of rain in the last 24 hours. And I bet you all of that at this point came pretty much this morning, as there wasn't a whole lot registered before we started seeing a soaking or two. And this is one of those cameras that's been periodically completely sunny and blue and beautiful, and now looking like it could storm at any moment. Now it could rain at any moment, but certainly not expecting any wild storms. And I actually picked the Summerall camera because a moment ago it was nice and blue and sunny, but you can see the spotty nature of these showers and thunderstorms, or thunder showers really, that we're seeing. Really coming to life here. Let's see, Columbia was clear a second ago. Yep, here we go. So Columbia is showing blue sky and wispy cloud cover, but again, we'll see another pop of clouds in the afternoon and a chance of showers that is slowly working its way more towards the south and the east. So like our northwest corner of the Pine Belt is largely clear of any rain, and very likely Marion County, I'm trying to place it on the map, is very likely going to be in a much better spot too. But you can see an inch and just over a tenth there of rain in the last 24 hours, and I would say probably all of that fell this morning in just a couple of hours, which did really come down. So yesterday's almanac here, 92 is the high that we reached at 3 o'clock. That's a couple of degrees warmer than I expected. I believe mine was at 90, and I believe that's why the storms that we saw yesterday, which we did talk about would be for all of sunrise, that did have a chance of being windy, probably overperformed a little bit there. It's that little extra couple of degrees of heating really warmed things up, made that air just a little bit more unstable. So as that wave passing through, and it was supposed to break down by the time it hit the central Pine Belt, was still going pretty strong, especially in the further north areas closer to Jackson. As far as rain measured, though, only 2/100ths of an inch. So again, some places didn't get much rain with that one yesterday, but we certainly will today. 89 is my expected high for today as we head into the afternoon. That's a little bit cooler than it has been last couple of days. This morning's low was 72, one of the warmer ones. That's because of the big surge of moisture, which we call return flow, happening ahead of a front moving through, and that's what we're seeing happening right now. So your hour-by-hour planner showing exactly what we're talking about, that we're going to keep those off and on cloudy skies for a couple of hours. Just after lunchtime there, we could see a quick pop of activity as late as about 5 o'clock, though I would say that's pretty late for this sky icon here to have a rainy one. Sometimes the computer likes to go crazy with those. But after that, we'll start seeing it clear up, and by sunset, I believe we're looking at largely clear skies, and that will take us into a practically beautiful weekend. But let's look at the humidity. As we head into the afternoon, you're just starting to see the lower humidity starting to inch in from the north there. As we head through the night and into Friday, it looks pretty good. Now you're seeing it right here Saturday afternoon. Very low humidity, especially for an afternoon, basically a summer day kind of thing for us. Looking rather nice there with dew points falling down into the 50s. Going to feel pretty great. But look at that, it doesn't last too long. By the time we head into Sunday morning, we're already seeing a return of that miserable humidity. So we'll be going from about mid-50s dew points to mid-70s dew points in less than 24 hours. And that's what it's like living this close to a huge body of water. It just really depends on which way the wind blows as to where that humidity is going to go. Hope Cooley says it rained here at the 18 acres in Perry County. Assuming she meant this morning, that makes total sense there, because that line was passing through Forest County towards Perry County when it was issued the flash flood warning. So it was still holding together pretty good. Likely didn't get it as badly as Lamar County did. I think an area registered 4 inches of rain in just like an hour. So came down pretty hard. We'll see here in a moment what I've got. But it's really about the heat index, and that's what I was talking about earlier. We've had days as hot as what we'll see over this weekend, but the heat index is not going to be ridiculous. That Monday, not last Monday, but the one before that, where we reached 96 and it was so humid, the heat index that day was over 105, approaching over 110 in a couple of areas. Only expecting it to be a couple of degrees above the actual air temperature for Friday. Saturday, even less so, because we're seeing that dry air moving in. You saw those dew points, but then that next surge, I would say 97 there, underdoing it, because that's the day we're looking at it being about 95, 96 with that surging humidity by Sunday morning. So it'll feel very likely at least above 100. I think it's kind of underdoing it there. And then after that, things get a little bit up and down, starting that humidity roller coaster again. But let's talk about the last 24 hours or so of storms. We saw wind reports the day before with the line moving through. Yesterday, you could see all these wind damage reports up in the northeastern area of the county, just kind of dropping this box over the Pine Belt. We ended up with 19 thunderstorm wind damage reports for the area, plus this one heavy rain report, and that one came this morning. Let's take a look at that one, where it's reporting that 1 hour rainfall total at a personal weather station north of Purvis measured 5-minute accumulation. So in 5 minutes, it rained 0.7 inches between 6:14 in the morning and 6:19. That's over a half an inch of rain in 5 minutes, with close to an inch of rain, 0.89, so 9/10 of an inch falling in the next 5 minutes after that. from 619 to 624. So even areas with amazing drainage, that's going to pile up, and you may end up with some small-scale flooding issues there, showing over 2.5 inches there of rain in just that 1 hour rainfall total. So pretty intense rain there. That's what that flash flood, which is still active, is all about. You may encounter some flooded areas out and about for your morning commute in specifically Lamar, East Marion, and I would say West Forest before it really started to kind of come undone. Here's just going to point out one of these. Clark County EMA reported trees down in a home and power lines. That's pretty much what almost all of these say. It's all tree damage, some of them talking about power lines, some of them talking about damaging homes as well. And that one, again, was expected to be a line of storms passing through, breaking down. We talked about it all morning, how when these really start to come undone as well, they can get pretty windy. But that one supported again by heating. And somebody asked me this morning through direct messaging, if the models were wrong about this, because like yesterday for my rain chance, it was 30%. It was like, it said 30%, and then we got absolutely hammered with this strong storm. Well, that just comes down to the rain percentage thing just being kind of confusing on its own. We'll talk about it later when I show the 7-day, but I do an hourly chance of rain and kind of like a daily chance for the whole area, which is the struggle. When we have this many counties in an area and we're trying to give a forecast, most of my stuff here is specifically for Hattiesburg, and I kind of give lip service to whether it'll be earlier or later for certain areas, but still trying to cover the whole area so that everybody gets a decent forecast there. But you can see the last, I believe, 6 hours here when that little cluster started popping up and they all came together with that real intense rainfall, especially over Lamar County there, registering upwards of 4 inches on the radar estimate for a 3-hour period, which is certainly going to cause some problems. By the time we head to this time period, everything's starting to get forced off towards the east, though we still have very spotty cloud cover. That's why if you look outside, you might see blue sky and sunshine. 10 minutes later, you may see gray skies where it looks like it's going to rain at any given moment. But northwest of Hattiesburg, I would say you're not going to see much more rain today, but we do have a chance as we head into the afternoon. That front, that boundary that's kind of adding the lift, like lifting up this warmer, more humid air out of the way as I can't even say cooler, but drier air moving into the area does kind of force that up and over. That's where you're seeing at least a few afternoon showers trying to get going in the heat of the day. But after that, things will clear up nicely. By the time we head past sunset here, most of the area will be completely clear into a nice clear evening, heading into a perfectly sunny Friday there, which does warm up, showing 92 on this particular model here. I believe that's about 2 degrees too cool, and I'm hoping that I'm wrong about that because I've got 94 going up to 95, and I even had a 96 at one point here. It feels like we're going to kind of max out there, especially with that humidity and cloud cover starting to move back in there on Sunday, and that kind of foreshadows the rainy start to next week, which cools us off, but it's not even looking all that rainy. Like a 30% here for the whole day, a 20% for Tuesday, and then kind of bouncing up and down as we get into that summertime pattern where it's going to rain somewhere in the Pine Belt any given day when you get those conditions going on. And that's really the struggle. So that's what we're talking about here. Like Thursday, for Hattiesburg, if I was to put a 100% chance of rain for today, that would be perfectly fine. It's already rained here, and it rained quite a bit. And again, flash flood warnings are in effect, but if I'm trying to give you the look of the whole day, that's not quite what that is. So for a 20% chance of rain on a day like today, any percentage means I'm guaranteed it's going to rain. So 100% chance of rain. But generally, I like to think of it as a 20% chance you'll encounter that at any given time during the day. And then we can start breaking it down by time later on with the hourly breakdowns, which is where you'll see like the 100% and the 80% as we're pretty sure it's going to be in an area at a certain time and then might move on. So that's really the struggle with those. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, obviously pretty good there. But once we start heading into Monday, we get back to that pattern where there's just enough of a weakness, so to speak, in the pressure field where with daytime heating, once you get up into the mid 80s and low 90s, it's going to rain somewhere. And sometimes a couple of hours out we can start picking up on where that might be, but it's just how it is, especially when you've got a big source of moisture to the south of you like we do with the Gulf. We get those summer showers that might not even develop in our area and then drift towards us. So that's kind of what we're always on the lookout for. It's why it's a good reason to have our app that does kind of hourly rain breakdowns in there as well. Plus it has a little short-term forecaster in there as far as a model goes, so you can see where it thinks those are going to start popping up as well. But sometimes that's just how it goes. We're going to see a shower somewhere in the area, and it's not all the time without a front passing through that we can time it and show exactly where we think things will be at any given time. So I would say at least 10% of this 20% has already happened, and we'll see just one more quick pop as we head into the afternoon where we could see a few thunder showers or even thunderstorms, though there's no official risk of severe weather. At least let me double check that, because yesterday, right as I was leaving, I think they upgraded the whole area to a level 1, where it was only part of the area that was a level 1 yesterday. So yeah, especially our southeastern corner has thunderstorms possible, but no severe weather expected today. Outside of the flooding, again, that's severe weather as well. It's just not typically what people think of. So things are already starting to look pretty good for us. We'll even get rid of those clouds later today, and that leads us into an absolutely gorgeous weekend. Just remember to stay sunscreened up if you're going to be outside, because those UV indices will be quite high. Thankfully, the humidity is not too bad, but remember to stay hydrated as well, because it's still South Mississippi. Even when it's less humid, it's still humid out there, especially as we start heading into Sunday and that humidity surge comes back. Then things cool off a little bit, right back to where we should be in those upper 80s and low 90s, but then we get those hit or miss showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Too far out to see if we have any potential for those to be severe like the last couple of days have been, but that's something, of course, we'll keep you updated on. There's also, as far as the tropics go, which I didn't remember to leave to put that into this particular show, but I can talk about it at least. As far as the tropics go, there's nothing expected to develop within the next week. However, some models have been rather persistent with a little low pressure system that's been popping up kind of in the eastern edge of the northeastern edge of the central Gulf, which would put potentially some sort of developing low in the area. That happens a lot with these models, especially when you're a week plus out. They tend to get a little squirrely in the heat of the summer. So most of these we won't talk about. If it really starts to look like it could become something, we'll let you know. But right now, I wouldn't make any plans for it. Even if it does develop, I still wouldn't make any real plans for it, and we'll still continue to update you. But if that were to happen, it looks like it's like 15th, which would be, I believe, kind of coming up around this period here. So that may even be part of that Wednesday there, if there is a weakness there and it's developing cloud cover. But as far as tropical developments within the next week, it is not looking likely, especially for us. So we'll keep an eye on that. But once again, if you'd like to follow me and ask these questions, like I said, a viewer asked the question about the percentage rain thing earlier today on Facebook. Ryan Mahan WDAM is how you can search and find me. Give a like, a follow, or whatever they call it these days. Also, the same on the Twitter or the X, however you want to call it, at Ryan Mahan WX is that handle there. So I will go ahead and let you guys go for the day. It looks like there's still about 40 of you in here, so thank you. Plus all the people watching on the app. Things could get a little dark again as far as the skies go, especially if you're right around the Central Pine Belt and to the southeast, as we'll see the last of that boundary, try to make some activity in the heat of the day, but after that, things clear up nicely for a beautiful weekend. I hope you're able to enjoy.